Today's video, we're going to take a look at setting up statistical groups. Statistical groups can be used for customers, suppliers, or products. They can be used to query transactional data using those criteria. First, let's take a look at the setup. To start with, we can have up to 5 statistical groups for any customer, supplier, or product that is defined in activity codes under development activity codes. And STI is the one for product statistical groups. You can do a search. You got sales statistical groups here, product, contract. You see they're all set at 3. All right, if you wanted to change those to 5, you could. The max is 5. We're just going to leave it at 3. Actually, I'm going to change it because we're only using 2. So I'm going to change it to 2. And I must have it open somewhere else. So now I've changed it to 3, and you need to do validations to get them to update on the screens. So if I go into products, for example, you'll see there's 3 groups listed here. I'm going to pause this recording and revalidate the screen, and then it'll be down to 2. So here we are with our product record. We see under our identification tab, our statistical groups. We have product type level 2. So these are dependent, meaning if I choose one here, I'll have different options. Choose another one. Then I have options depending on the first one, what I can choose for the second one, and I don't have group 3 defined. So I'm going to cancel these changes. Next, let's take a look at how these are set up. So we're going to go under the navigation menu under Development, Miscellaneous Tables Definition. And this is where we define these statistical groups are actually saved as miscellaneous tables. And we can make them dependent on one another. So if we start with 20, that's the first product stat group table. It has no dependency. But then the next one, 21, we say is dependent on 20. So that's how we're able to link the 2 together. Now, once we have this established, you see there's group 3, 4, and 5, which we're not using. So if we go back and we'll now look at how we'll define what the actual groups are within product type and product type level 2. So next we're going to actually define what the statistical groups are. So we go into common data, product stat groups. And here we have our list of these miscellaneous tables 20 through 24. So this is where we add our basically groups. So under product type we have here filter, other, and service. This is how they'll appear: filter, other, and service. And you can change the text here at any time. If you want to change these codes, you have to cancel those modifications. Oops, didn't mean to do that. Let's go back into product stat groups. Trying to get this menu to stick here. All right, so if I want to change these codes and they exist, like filt here, I have to select this change the key over here. If I select change key, I can change like fill to something else. There's no need to do that here. And it's actually the description that really shows up. So you shouldn't have to change these codes very often. Just be careful if you add too many, you can't just delete them when they have dependencies. If they don't have dependencies, you can delete them. So just be careful with that. So what I'm going to do is on my level 2 here, I'm just going to add one more of these stat groups. So in this case, I'm going to put in, these are limited to 5 characters here. So this is just like the code, and then the descriptions will show up. So this one is anti and treatment. And that's going to be under SCRV. So this is how you establish a dependent parent table here. So I jump down to this extra field. It doesn't like that I haven't put anything in there, so I hit the escape key, save. Now I'm good to go. Now if I go back to products, okay, and you can see I can select here any of these that fall under what I've defined under filt. So I think that last one I entered was under service. Yep, that's the one I just added. So I don't want to make these changes because these are already set up here. But now that I have these statistical groups defined, what I can do, and this is how I can use them, is I can go and run queries with this data. So now if I want to run, let's say, I'm going to go back into my navigation menu here. Let's say I'm going to go under sales, inquiries, order lines. So this will show every sales order line in my system. Now, if I want to use the statistical groups, I select this criteria here. And now I have here, you see that product type, the product type level 2. This one here, this is a customer stat group, which I haven't renamed. If I select product type, you can see I can select, okay, let's just look at filters. I don't have to select product level 2. I can if I want. And that'll filter the results down to any one of these. So I'm just going to stick with filt for now, select OK. And then the company and the sales site are this. So this would be all my sales for company JFC, sales site AUS, and with the further criteria of product type filt. So that's the setup and use of stat groups in X3 with an example of product stat groups.